And welcome back to another fantastic episode of Atomic Tutorials. My name is Dr. Wasabi, and in today's episode we are making the Diamond City Radio Shack from Fallout 4. Yes, that is right, we are making the famous Diamond City Radio Shack. You may have known this from, well, if you actually played Fallout 4, it's where Travis Miles lives, and it's essentially where the Diamond City Radio is broadcasted all over the Commonwealth, and I thought this was such an iconic location that I'd make a tutorial out of the building itself, because although it is quite a small build, it is quite complicated, let me tell you. So, I think without further ado, let's get into the build. So, for today's build, you will need the following items: grey carpet, grey concrete, hoppers, polished deep slate stairs, polished deep slate slabs, anvils, cyan terracotta, light grey concrete, stone, stone stairs, stone slabs, stone brick walls, andesite walls, polished andesite stairs, grindstones, smooth stone slabs, light grey beds, blocks of iron, white stained glass panes, iron trapdoors, light blue stained glass panes, waxed oxidized copper, green carpet, redstone repeaters, redstone comparators, levers, tripwire hooks, candles, oak trapdoors, spruce stairs, spruce trapdoors, spruce doors, note blocks, dark oak trapdoors, acacia trapdoors, acacia fence gates, smooth red sandstone stairs, terracotta, polished granite, waxed exposed copper, waxed exposed cut copper slabs, and iron bars. So that is the list for today's build. So for any survival players, my main tip would be to get around the same number of every block. A lot of these items are one block uses, which means they are only used once, and believe me, there are a lot of these in this build, so don't worry about how much you have to collect really. As long as you get an overall same amount for each block, you should be fine. One other thing to say, this is a very long list. Make sure you have every item before you continue with your build. I know I don't really say this for a lot of builds, but because this build list is so long and so technical with each little item or block, please just make sure you have all the blocks in place before you do the build, because honestly, it'll be a whole bunch of trouble you getting out there to get the materials and go back to finish the build and whatnot. So, I think without further ado, let's get on to our time lapse. And we are back from that amazing time-lapse, folks. So before I show you anything, I just want to say, if you do like what I do, please like this video and subscribe. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've built, shall we? Now, you may be wondering, Wasabi, why are there two versions of these builds? And that's an excellent question. You may have noticed that I've left one block out of the build list, and that is the copper, well, the waxed copper slabs over here, and that's for a very kind of special purpose, because I want there to be two versions of this build. One is more of an optional thing you can do just to make it a bit better in detail, but it will be a bit more expensive, and then of course you have the default one that we built already. So going into the one we built, we have this awesome little moat that I've kind of built, because when you go into Diamond City, a lot of that part of the city is underwater. It's part of a lake that is kind of filled up after the war, and that's where kind of Travis lives. That's why it's on stilts. So if we go in here, we have all of the radio equipment that he uses, as well as the kind of speaker that he kind of pushes against the microphone. That's where all the music comes from. Now, in terms of space, I did have to push a few things around just so it more or less would be detail accurate in that regard, but overall I think I did a pretty good job. I really like the addition of the candles. I think it adds a bit of depth, I think, when it comes to detailing of this build, because for those who don't know, there are quite a lot of candles in Travis's home. My reasoning is all the electricity is going into the neon sign, which is actually what we're going to be going on now. So for the bit more expensive version, what I've done is I've replaced the white stained glass panes with an end rod, and there is a very special purpose for that. So if I turn this to nighttime like so, it lights up, and that's essentially the only detail addition I wanted to do. Now, on top of the end rods over here, what I've done inside is I've done a bit of a lamp design over here using the waxed exposed cut copper slabs and the end rods just to add a bit more light. Now, of course, this is optional. I do understand how difficult end rods are to get, so if you can't get them, then that is completely fine. So that is the kind of extra optional build that you can do on top of the default build. So that has been our tutorial for today, the Diamond City Radio Shack. I do hope you enjoyed this build. This was quite fun for me to make, both going into the game and getting the kind of screenshots and kind of reference images to build this thing, and also just like making a really detailed small build. The amount of blocks I actually discovered I needed for this build were crazy. Honestly, I had such a good time, and I hope you did too. My name has been Dr. Wasabi. I wish you a most pleasant good evening, and of course, as always, God bless.
And now, folks, it is time to say good night. We sincerely appreciate your viewing and hope we've succeeded in providing you with an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Stay happy and come back again soon. Good night.